Okay, so in this section, it's actually not really part of Chapter 10, it's just one that I've added to it, because for the rest of Chapter 10, we're going to be working with conic sections, and you will need to be an expert at completing the square, not only with one variable, but with two variables. So it's a review, sort of. The only new thing is that we have to do the process twice for each problem. So first example we're going to take a look at, these are in your notes packet. We have x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 4y equals 0. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to rearrange our terms so that the x's are together, the y's are together, and then constants to the other side. So x squared minus 6x, and I'm going to complete the square here, so I'm going to end up adding a term. So you're going to leave a space, and then y squared plus 4y, complete the square, so leave a space. We don't have a constant on this one, so I'm just going to leave 0. And then because I need to keep my equation balanced when I add these two things, I want to make sure I add those two things to the other side as well. Now we're going to complete the square. So we're going to take the 6, divide it in half, squared it. It doesn't matter if you've taken negative 6 or positive 6, because when you square it, it's going to come out positive 9. And then add it to the other side as well. Take the 4, divide that in half, square it. Well, that gives us 2 squared is 4, so we're going to add 4 here, add 4 here, and then we're ready to factor. So everything is the same thing as we did before. We just have to repeat the process for the second variable. And then if I factor x, take square root of that, and the sign of the middle one, squared, plus, again, square root of the first term, square root of the last term, sign of the middle, square it, equals 13. And for our purposes, that is all we are going to do with it. Now it is in the perfect square form. This actually is a circle, if you happen to remember that. It's a circle with a center of 3, negative 2, and a radius of radical 13. But we'll work more with that later on. All you have to know today is how to get it into that form. Second example. Again, first thing you're going to need to do is separate your terms. So 4x squared plus the 12x. We're going to actually do some other things before we fill in that blank, but put it there anyway. 4y squared minus 20y plus something equals, move that 66 over to the other side. Now in this case, we need to have a leading coefficient of 1. But you need a leading coefficient for both of these terms to be 1. Well, since they are both 4s, one option that we have is we could divide everything by 4. The only problem is that 66, 4 doesn't go in there evenly. So I think what I would do is just forget that step. I would not divide everything by 4, but if it happens to go into everything nicely, then divide everything by 4, get rid of it. In this case, though, I'd like you to see what happens anyway when it doesn't divide out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the x terms, and since this is a 4, and I'm going to factor that 4 out of there, because I have to have a leading coefficient of 1. So I'm going to have x squared. I'm going to factor it out of here as well, so plus 3x, plus whatever. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the y's. I'm going to factor 4 out of the y's, and that could have been any number, even if it was a 3 or a 5 or something, I could factor that out of just the y terms then. So 4 goes into 25 times, and again, I'll have to have something in there. Whoops, I forgot to put my 2 blanks on the other side. But I can put them in now. Alright, next we're going to complete the square for the x's. So take the 3, divide it by 2, square it. And I wanted to do one of these because everybody always panics when we get fractions. But if we divide that, we get 9/4. Now, what did we actually add to this side? If we factored out the 4 for these, remember, if I distribute them again, I'll get back to here again. So I factored the 4 out of that one then, really, also. If I multiply it back through again, 4 times 9/4 gives me 9. So what I really added to this side was really just a 9. So put that in here. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. This is 5 divided by 2 square is 25/4. But what did I really add to that side? It's really 4 times 25/4, which is really just 25. Okay, and then I'm ready to factor. Okay, and this 4 is going to stay here. I'll have x plus, and then the square root of that is 3/2, plus 4 times, and this will give us y minus, a little minus here, 5/2 squared equals, and then if we add up everything that we have over here, that gives us a nice round 100. And again, for our purposes, you could probably just leave it like this. One other version that you'll see is if you divide everything now by 4, and you'd get x plus 3/2 squared, y minus 5/2 squared, and equals 25. So if it happens going evenly into every term, then go ahead and simplify that. Alright, again, what we have is a circle. Center is -3/2 and positive 5/2. Radius is 5. So hopefully you remember that from geometry days. Okay, third example. This one I think is very similar to the other ones, and maybe you want to shut off the video right now and try it on your own first, see if you can get it worked out, and if not, then come back to the video again. So I'll give you that option. Okay, if you are going to watch the example, or if you're back again now, first thing we're going to do is rearrange terms. So I have my x squared plus 6x. I need the 4y squared. I'm going to leave a space here. 4y squared minus 8y. Leave a blank again. And then I need to move the 9 over to the other side, so minus 9. This one does not have a leading coefficient on the x's, so that's kind of nice. All you have to do is take the 6, divide it by 2, square it, I get 9, add a 9 to the other side. Forgot to put my 2 blanks over there again. And then on the y's, though, I'm going to factor the 4 out, just like we did before. So 4y minus 2y squared minus 2y plus something. And what we end up with over here, this I can factor already then, so x plus 3 squared. Now, to finish up my work on the y's, I'm going to take that 2, divide it in half, square it, gives me 1, add 1. But what did I really add to that side? 4 times 1. That's probably the most common mistake that people make, is forgetting that. And then I have my perfect square. This will be y minus from the middle, and then the square root of 1. These cancel out, and I'm left with just 4. Okay, and that one I would just leave the way it is for now. And we'll learn more later what we can do with that 4. Alright, that's it. At this point now, you can do assignment number 1, which is the worksheet. I will probably put the key for that on Schoology as well as this video. So I'll look for that, check to see if it's listed on Schoology. Alright, good luck. See me during Prowl if you have some questions on anything. If you can't get something figured out.